In 2017, the world was blessed with this, the most odd crossover in game. I remember seeing so many people online talk about how bad this game was going to be months before it was released, but when I learned that this guy was doing the music, I knew I just had to get the game. Grant Kirkhope composed the music of my childhood and inspired me to become a composer, and even play the saxophone, because I like the sound of this. So even if the game turned out to be terrible, I was going to support it. It was amazing. It was a great game. I'm Wannabe Composer 64, and in this video we're going to study some of the music in Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle and how Grant Kirkhope wrote this iconic score. And don't feel bad if you don't know anything about musical composition. I'll try to make this entertaining for musicians and non-musicians. For this video, I'm just going to be talking about the first game, as I haven't finished Sparks of Hope, and I feel like that could be a whole video on its own. So let's get into it. Grant Kirkhope has always had a distinct style. No matter what genre, he delivers in creating a score that seamlessly blends gameplay and music. Whether he's working on a whimsical platformer, an epic adventure, or a dark atmospheric game, Kirkhope has a remarkable ability to adapt his compositions while retaining his signature flair. Kirkhope's style shines through in one of the first tracks of the game. There's nothing complex happening here, these are just major chords. The D7 and A-flat chords give the adventurous feel because these chords are not part of our key of C major. Quite literally, they are adventuring out of the key signature. Within these few chords, you already know you're listening to a Kirkhope piece. Don't believe me? How about we add a melody? We get the main theme to Banjo-Kazooie. I believe one of Kirkhope's key ideas when writing a catchy tune is that less is more. You don't need a bunch of upper extension chords that convey the ideas of a good piece of music. Now, this is not to say that Grant just uses simple chords that convey his ideas. I think the magic of this is knowing when to use the more complex stuff. Probably one of my favorite parts of this game is when Mario and friends are scaling the tower. By this point, you are more comfortable with the combat system, and you notice that the music begins to have a more serious undertone. Kirkhope introduces this theme. The principle of less or more is present here, both in the writing and the instrumentation. The flute gives us our melody, while the harp adds the mystic feeling, and finally our strings give us our chords and comping rhythms. This next track takes the melody that was introduced to us in the last one and adds something special. My favorite part of this is how Kirkhope gives us a foreshadowing of the next boss by throwing in a familiar theme. For those who haven't played the game, see if you can guess whose motif this is. That's right, this is outlining the Donkey Kong theme, originally written by David Wise, but of course Kirkhope had his version of the theme in DK64. Earlier I was talking about knowing when to use more than just 3-note chords, and this is the perfect example. We are in the key of C minor, with the main line taking notes from the C blues scale. While this isn't the same rhythms as the original DK theme, these are the same notes. This section goes between the two chords of C minor and A-flat major, with the addition of A-flat 7 and G7 chords. The player would have no way of knowing that Donkey Kong, or Rabbid Kong, would be the next boss unless you were paying close attention to the bananas in the background, or of course, paying attention to the music. Or you look at the box art, but that's the lame answer. I can't talk about the music of this game without talking about Mid-Boss Mayhem. This is easily the most well-known track from this game. I also got to point out the similarities between this theme and the one from Ukulele. I mean, they're even in the same key. For For this example, I've created a reduction of the full orchestra recording. With how easy it was to convert this into 4 voices, we started to understand why Kirkhope's ideas come off more clearly. The repetition of this melody, with slight variation between chords, gives us a perfect formula for a catchy tune. Okay, this has got to be a reference to Klungo's motif from Banjo-Kazooie. I mean, just listen to how similar it is. It's just so well done. Motifs are an excellent tool for any composer trying to flesh out their soundtrack, and this is no exception. You can obviously see how much care Grant puts into his scores, and by how well he knows his games. I guarantee you they didn't tell him to do the foreshadowing of the boss in the music. It was a wise choice made by Grant. Since we're talking about motifs, this is not part of the script. I just really thought to bring the attention to this. It's just one of Kirkhope's signature lines that he uses in a lot of his pieces. I thought it was cool. I haven't seen anybody else talk about it, so there it is. Many of the tracks in Mario plus Rabbids are written for full orchestra. Grant claimed that some of his biggest inspirations are Danny Elfman and John Williams, and I can clearly see the connection between Danny Elfman and Kirkhope, as he seems to have a very similar understanding of the orchestra. For example, look at this battle from Mario plus Rabbids. Did you know I replaced the music with Danny Elfman's? I mean, I guess I did kind of make it obvious. Well, my point is that Kirkhope and Elfman have a very similar style. Borrowing or being inspired by other works is common and accepted part of composition. Everyone who's ever called themselves a musician has been inspired by someone or something. The combining of talents is what the video game industry is all about, whether it be music, art, coding, or any other thing that brings the game into your hands. As video game composers, we need others to truly bring our ideas into reality. David Soliani was a former creative director at Ubisoft and wanted to give Grant the call to write the music for Mario plus Rabbids. Grant and David became friends over their time working together, and just look at this. That's beautiful. I think Kirkhope's relationship with Soliani strengthened the score and added an additional layer of emotion to the whole soundtrack. This was also the same with Kirkhope's time at Rare. The small team in the 90s and early 2000s really added character to their games and music. So for the last part of the video, I've decided to write something using the things I've learned. This is an original piece where I've used similar orchestration techniques to Kirkhope in Mario plus Rabbids, while still adding my own ideas to the mix. Well, what'd you think? Do you think that I match the style of Kirkhope? Let me know in the comments. At the end of my future videos, I will try and write something in the style of the composer, as I learned a lot from studying the orchestration, and I hope you did too. So I've never made a video like this before, and I was inspired to have the success of my friend Cagley's Earthbound video. Check it out in the description. I plan on making other videos where I talk about the music from some of my favorite games. What kind of game should I do next? I just recently started a second channel, Cloggage, where I have an ongoing webcomic now being worked into an animation, with original music, story, and art, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. So if you want to see more videos like this, just subscribe, and I'm sure I'll make something you like. If not this video, then something in the future. All right, thanks for watching.